So what are some of the words and terms that your ideal client would be asking? And then what do? You then answer the question and show up regularly. I always tell my clients, pick 4 groups, show up 15 minutes every single day, 15 minutes in each group every single day. Yes, that's an hour. It doesn't have to be all in one time. Break it up. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Empowered. This is a 12-episode podcast series designed to help you embrace your brilliance as a holistic health coach. Oh my gosh, and a holistic health practitioner for that matter. I'm so excited, you guys, that you have chosen to spend some time with me today, some more time with me today. I will tell you this, if you missed the last episode, go back. Last episode, I spoke about understanding resistance for what it really is. You guys, that's a powerful episode. Not that any of the other ones are any less powerful, but I will tell you that this is something that you'll continue to come up against time and time again, the resistance. So definitely make sure that you go back and listen to that more than once, okay? All right, so for today we're going to jump into visibility strategies that position you as a thought leader and as an authority in your niche. Okay, why is this important? It's important for many reasons, but before I get ahead of myself, how about we start off with some slow and deep cleansing breaths? We're going to give our nervous system some love, all right? So if you're able to, go ahead and put your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your belly, because you really want to breathe from below your diaphragm. And if you can, if it's safe, you go ahead and close your eyes. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 slow and deep cleansing breaths before we hop into our magical topic for today. And we'll inhale for 4 seconds. We'll hold for 4 seconds. And then we'll exhale for 4 seconds. That counts as 1. Okay, and we're going to do that for a total of 3 rounds. Okay, just giving our nervous system some love, recalibrating our nervous system. So you ready? All right, here we go. Go ahead and take a deep breath in for 4. Hold. And exhale. Let's go ahead and do that again. And last breath. All right. How do you feel? Oh, yeah. I know you just said you feel great. I know you did because I feel great. Isn't it so amazing how, again, something so simple. I know I say this every time we do a deep breathing exercise or like box breathing like we just did. Isn't it so amazing how something as simple as taking deliberate, slow, and deep breaths can be so grounding and so refreshing and so exhilarating, so relaxing. I'm super relaxed right now. So anyway, don't forget to incorporate that into your everyday. I mentioned this before. I literally have my phone, set to go off at the top of every hour. And I do a 90-second nervous system recalibration, if you will. I simply do 90 seconds of alternate nostril breathing. So it takes you out of that parasympathetic state, it takes you out of the sympathetic state, taps into that parasympathetic, decreases that cortisol, it just relaxes you, as you can tell. I don't have to tell you how. I actually don't. Here's what's so magnificent about it. I don't even have to explain all the, how it works physiologically, because you can feel the difference. So that being said, let's hop on into it, you guys. So visibility strategies that position you as a thought leader and an authority in your niche. Why is this important? It is so very important because the last thing you want to be is the best kept secret on earth. You do not. That is not a title you want to hold. It is not, and if you hold it now, it's time to relinquish the title. You don't want to be the best kept secret. Because here's the thing, and to be quite honest, I would say just from working the last several years with clients, the biggest thing, one of the biggest hurdles, I will say, is that they don't know, they feel like they don't know enough people and not enough people know them. And that very well might be true. So that's what I'm talking about when I say don't be the world's best kept secret, because you have something special. You have a magnificent gift. You have a way of being, that you have knowledge and expertise that will literally change the trajectory of someone's health, therefore their life and the lives of those that are around them. So the last thing we want is for you to be unknown. We don't want you to be unknown. That's not a good thing. We need people to be able to find you. We need for you to have a presence. So otherwise, you will find that it's challenging to gain clients. It's challenging to fill your programs. It's challenging, and that's a challenge that it's actually a very easily fixed problem. Okay, so let me tell you a couple of simple ways that you can increase your visibility. I am speaking specifically about increasing your online presence and increasing your visibility online, and really positioning yourself as a thought leader online in your niche. Okay, so first of all, we won't talk about niches because we've talked about that before. So surely at this point, you know what your niche is, right? So what can we do? So first and foremost, we have to realize that if you're not actively posting on social media, you are missing out on a large percentage of the population. There are I think the last time, 8 million people on social media at any given time. That's an insane amount of people. I look at social media because I know some of you right now, you're thinking, well, I don't like social media, and I don't like my personal business out there. Whatever the case may be, I get that, and I honor you in that. And I will also say that the only reason I am on social media is for my business. It's for visibility. Now, do I post some things that are personal? Like, so for instance, I just recently went to my friend's lake house last week, and we hung out and had a girls' night and just did like a slumber party. Yeah, I posted that because you don't want it to only just be business on your profiles. And I do my main profile. And I will tell you, you will want to post on your main profile. And the reason being is more people are going to see what you post on your main profile. Yes, you can have a business page, but Facebook's priority, they're not really pushing out your business page to people. So less people will see it, which means you'll have less visibility. So where do you want to start? You want to start with your main profile. Now, I will tell you this, because I've had again, worked with lots of clients who've had this concern. They're like, well, but my kids are on there, and this is from clients who haven't really had that much of a social media presence for their business, right? So they're on social media, but it's to hang out, to keep in touch with grandma and cousins and friends and all that good stuff. That's fine. What I would recommend is create another Facebook page, okay? But hear me clearly, don't make that profile your business one. Because I guarantee you right now, you have people that are on your profile, that are on your main profile, your personal profile, that's not grandma and Aunt Susie and cousin Eddie. There are people there who are likely your ideal clients. And so you don't want to make them move to a whole other profile. Don't do that. Don't create another barrier. What I do recommend is grandma, Susie, Uncle Susie, Aunt Susie, cousin Eddie, make them move, because guess what? They're your family. They're going to move. Don't make potential clients have to find you someplace else. They're already on your profile now. Leave them there. Create another profile. That's going to be your personal profile. And if there's anything that you feel like you need to scrub from your personal profile, maybe there's pictures of your kids or whatever it is that you feel like you might not want visible to the public, then take those off and put them on your other profile. Okay. And that other profile, you can keep it as a private. There's settings in Facebook, particularly. There's settings on all social media profiles, but I'm speaking specifically about Facebook. You can make that one, the other one, that's going to be your personal one, with your aunties and uncles and cousins and kids and husbands and husbands, not plural, one husband. You can make that profile for them. Okay. You can make that a private profile. This profile, the one that you're going to be actively posting on for your business, make sure that your settings are set to public. So that's why I say if there's anything on there that you don't necessarily want the public to see, then move it off, put it on your other one, and make that private. Okay. All right. So now that we've got that cleared and out of the way, now you want to start posting regularly. Here's the thing. I don't want you to get caught up in, oh, I can't post every day, or, some people say you need to post 3 times a day. Listen, you consistently means you pick what it is that you're able to commit to and be consistent with it. Okay. So if all you can commit to right now at this stage is Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon, great. That is your schedule. Okay. But whatever it is, pick what works for you at this moment. It'll change, so don't worry. Pick what works for you. Pick what's doable. Run with it. Be consistent with it, day in, day out. It's on your calendar. Like, you don't miss it because it's scheduled in your calendar. Okay. Not only do you want to post on your profile, and you're going to post on I won't go into like all the different types of things that you want to post. However, you do want to post on your profile, not just business things. You can post some personal things because people don't want to just see just your business. Remember, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. How do you build that know, like, and trust factor? You show up. You show up consistently. You give great value. You ask great questions, right? You give them a glimpse into aspects of your life that you feel comfortable. So, and again, that's going to be different for each and every one of you. There's no right or wrong. It is whatever works for you. I just want to throw this out there for those of you who have little kids. I saw and I always give this example when I'm working with my clients, but I came across this really cool Instagram profile. I don't know who it belonged to. Like, I didn't follow it. I just happened to land on it some way, somehow. And I thought it was the coolest thing because you could tell her niche were moms of young kids. Now, what was really cool is that she showed her kids, not their faces. Like, every picture that she posted had something to do with motherhood and children and raising children. So, for instance, she would take a picture of the breakfast table, and you would see 4 plates. It was her, I guess it was her husband, and then 2 kids' plates. You just saw their plates with their food and their forks and knives and whatever. You never saw their kids. Sometimes you get a kid like finger or their hand in the picture, but not all the time. When I saw pictures of her with her kids at the park, what's really cool about that is, again, you never saw their picture. So if you never saw their face. So if you're concerned about, like, I don't want my kid's face to be, I don't want them to have a digital footprint, that's fine. So the pictures of them at the park, the pictures were taken from behind the swing set. So you could see there were her kids swinging, but the picture was taken from behind to maintain their anonymity. And I thought that was just really cool because, again, her whole profile was about motherhood and kids, raising kids. And I don't know what type of business she had. I don't remember, but I just remember it stood out to me because it was very clear who her audience was. And it was very clear that she also did not want to show her kid's face, and it was perfectly fine. Yet they were represented in pretty much everything that she posted, either by their shoes or their plate or a hand or, the picture of them taken from behind the swing set. It was really neat. So that being said, you get to decide what level of comfortability you want, but be visible, be consistent. Okay. And here's a little hack for you. When you post on your profile, also share it to your stories. Share it to your stories. More people will see it that way. Okay. Remember, we're increasing your visibility. All right. Second thing. And so I will say this about what to post. Post what would resonate with your niche, what will resonate with your ideal client. Okay. Post things that other people want to know. Lists are always good. Do this, not that. Those are always good. So how does that pertain to your particular audience, your particular ideal clients, and as it relates to what it is that you do? Right? So do this, not that. Those are always really great. I know that when I come across them, whether they're time management, whether they're food related, whether they're workout related, no matter what it is, I save them. That's what you want people to do. You want them to save them, okay? And not only just save, you want them to share. So I'll send it to my friends, send it to my cousin, especially workout videos. And so that's what you want. You want shareable. Why? Because now not just your audience has seen it. Now that it's been shared by Susan, all of Susan's audience sees it. Yay. And guess what? Maybe 2 or 3 of Susan's friends like it so much that they share it with their friends and their cousins and in their profile or in their stories. Yay. Again, expanding your visibility. That's what you want. The second thing, so I mentioned share those in your post, share your posts in your stories. Great way to also increase your visibility with your own demographic, and then helps to expand beyond that, because then if you're creating shareable content, it gets in front of a larger audience. Okay. Second thing is podcasting, you guys. Podcasting is one of the absolute podcast guesting. Okay. I want to clarify that, because I don't want you to misinterpret that and think, oh my God, I have to start a podcast now. Not necessarily, not unless you want to, you certainly can. But I will tell you this, podcasting is a long game. And I will also say this, if you're not at a place where you are generating consistent revenue, and I would even say if you're not at 10K months yet, don't start a podcast. What you need to be focusing on is having conversations, like doing conversion events, whether they're online or in person. That might be a masterclass or whatnot, and booking phone calls and having conversations to enroll people into your programs. That's like your only focus until you get to at least 10,000. Like, there's not a whole lot of other stuff you need to be doing like that. I mean, there's things you need to be doing, but that needs to be the primary focus. Don't add in another thing to do, like a podcast, which is a long game, meaning you're not going to see the return tomorrow. It's a longer game. And so, but that doesn't mean you can't podcast guest. You should absolutely be a guest on a podcast. What does that do? That positions you as a thought leader. That gives you massive exposure. That gives you exposure to people and increases your visibility to people that would not have otherwise known that you existed. That's what we want. Now, when you are being a guest on a podcast, make sure that podcast, the listening audience of that podcast, are your ideal clients. So for instance, I work primarily with my holistic health business. I work with women, primarily with women. And so it would not make sense for me to go on a podcast that the audience is made up of predominantly male listeners. I mean, sure, they have wives or a girlfriend or a sister or mom. I mean, yeah, but that's kind of like the long way around. What makes sense for me is to be on podcasts that have largely women audiences, because that is my population. Not just women, but women over 30, right? Women over 45, that's your niche. If your niche is perimenopausal or postmenopausal, make sure that the podcast that you are guesting on, they have that audience, okay? So that's another way that you can, again, position yourself as an authority, because when you are on podcast, it also builds, it's like a built-in credibility, right? There's the credibility of the host, the one that owns the podcast, because if they're having you on their show, it's kind of like a vouch for you. And so you are now being shepherded in, if you will, to and exposed to their audience in a very warm and inviting way. Okay. Because if the podcast host thought enough of you to have you on there, then as the listeners, the perception is, oh my God, she must be a really, cool person, a very knowledgeable person. I better listen in, or I need to go ahead and follow her. All right. Or him or her. All right. So that helps to position yourself as a thought leader. That helps to engineer your celebrity. All of this is vastly important when you are talking about converting people into clients. Okay. And here's the other thing too. Even if one of my longest, I think this is the client that worked with me the longest. She actually worked with me for 2 years. I originally enrolled her into a 6-month program, but she was having magnificent results, and we still had work to do, that she renewed for another 6 months. And then she renewed for another 6 months. And then she renewed for another 6 months. So we worked together in totality for 2 years. And I did not meet her on a podcast. And that's why I want to bring this to your awareness. I actually met her. I was a guest inside of a Facebook group. It was, and here's the other thing too, you guys, it wasn't even a large group. It was, I think there were maybe 20 women that I was asked to speak to about health and wellness, holistic health and wellness. So I say that to say it's not always about being on podcasts with massive audiences. That's great, but don't underestimate the power and the value of being in a very intimate container. So again, I was a guest speaker inside of a Facebook group of maybe 20 people. I don't even know if it was 20 people. But what ended up happening is I did my thing. I didn't sell anything. I just did my thing. I shared, I taught, I added value, I answered questions. I had a little slideshow, presentation. It was like a 30-minute talk. And from that, several of those women ended up joining my Facebook group that I had, and I still currently have that same Facebook group. And from that, one of the ladies, or actually a couple of them, ended up attending my masterclass. And then one ended up joining my program. And that was the one I just told you we worked together for 2 whole years, you guys. So don't underestimate small audiences, okay? Get yourself out there. If I would say this, particularly if you're just starting or if you don't have much of a presence anywhere, you go wherever your ideal client is, whether it's 5 people or whether it's 5,000 people or 50,000 people. Get yourself in front of more people. The more people that know you, the better. The more people that know what you do, the better. Again, we're talking about increasing visibility. And then the third thing that I want to share with you is Facebook groups. I kind of alluded to that a second ago. Facebook groups. Now, you can have your own Facebook group, absolutely. And actually, I'll talk about that on a separate podcast because there's lots of really great benefits to having your own Facebook group. But I'll say that again for another podcast. So you want to, if they don't have a podcast, they being whomever you're speaking with, but they do have a Facebook group, definitely be a guest in there and join. And here's the thing, you're probably already in many Facebook groups, multiple Facebook groups. If you're not, join some Facebook groups where your ideal clients are likely to be. Okay, where your ideal clients are likely to be. So let's just say, I'm just going to use this as an example again. Maybe your niche is menopausal women or postmenopausal or perimenopausal women. Well, we know they're at a certain age group, right? We also know that they probably are empty nesters. So what would be a great Facebook group to join? A Facebook group full of empty nesters. You could literally just search on Facebook and type in empty nesters. I'm sure lots of them will pop up. Okay. So guess what? Now you're in a group of where your ideal client is in abundance. All right. So where does your ideal client hang out on Facebook? Where? Again, if she's menopausal, she might be in an empty nester group. Maybe if you work with new moms, there's probably tons of postpartum groups, new mommy groups, mommy and me groups. So search those out and then join those groups. And those are just examples. And while you're in the group, because you're thinking, okay, what do I do once I'm in the group? Okay, when you're in the group, guess what you do? You show up as a thought leader. So I always say, pick out like 2 or 3 or 4 keywords. So for instance, my clients, my ideal clients have primary hypertension or high blood pressure, right? Or they are either pre-diabetic or diabetic. So what do? When I go into Facebook groups where my ideal clients are, I literally will type in diabetic. Because I know someone's asking, what can I do for diabetes? Or sometimes I type in diabetes or diabetic. Because again, people are asking, what can I do for diabetes? How can I reverse my diabetes? I'll type in the word holistic. Because sometimes people will ask a question, what are some holistic ways or natural ways, natural is another keyword search, that I can decrease my blood pressure or get rid of my high blood pressure or reverse my diabetes? So what are some of the words and terms that your ideal client would be asking? And then what do? You then answer the question and show up regularly. I always tell my clients, pick 4 groups, show up 15 minutes every single day, 15 minutes in each group every single day. Yes, that's an hour. It doesn't have to be all in one time. Break it up. Okay. But guess what? Now that establishes you as a thought leader because they're like, who's this lady that keeps showing? Oh my gosh, she has such great advice. Oh my goodness. And then what do? Naturally, they go and follow you. Okay. So now you're increasing your audience. All right. So I gave you 3 super, super huge ways that you can increase your visibility. Posting, showing up consistently, short form video. I didn't say anything about that, but short form video, as they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? A video is worth 1,000,000. A video is worth 1,000,000 words. Do some short form videos. Okay. Either hire somebody or there's apps out there now that you can do them with or that can do them for you. All right. So Don't forget to post on your profile and your stories, right? So you're being in front of your audience. To make sure that you are a podcast guest somewhere, multiple, like I would say once a week you should be guesting on a podcast. 30-minute podcast, sharing your knowledge, sharing your brilliance. You've got so much to share. Okay. And the third thing, showing up in Facebook groups where your ideal client is and answering questions, literally just answering questions. And I mean, you could definitely post in there too, but the main thing is showing up consistently to to establish yourself as a thought leader, increase your celebrity, and increase your visibility. Okay. All right. So if this was helpful for you, I always just pray that this episode's helpful for you. If it's helped you, I pray that it's helped you gain clarity. I pray that it's helped you to own your brilliance. I pray that it's giving you starting points for you to increase your visibility. And last but not least, I pray that it has left you feeling truly empowered. So I have an ask. Do me a solid. Share this with another nurse. Share this with another nurse practitioner. Share this with a healthcare provider who is building their online holistic health business, because we do not want you or them to remain the world's best kept secret. Not at all. We are not here for that. Okay? All righty, my friends. Join me next week for another incredible episode of Empowered here on the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.